So, just never ends. Never, ever ends. They came here today early, which is disrespectful to me. I was out there shoveling, but I could have been in the shower. I could have been anything, you know. You don't just show up early. That's disrespectful in and of itself, okay? But if I was indisposed, they just would have to wait. As it is, I was shoveling, and then I said, you have to wait. I have to, I was out, and then I see a truck pull up. I'm like, what are you doing here early? And she goes, oh, well, my plumber, you know, got out early. I know, but you're a half hour early. It's not even worth it. At this point, I'm just making her work. Okay? I'm disgusted with everything. I don't even care anymore. I'm not planning on staying here, okay? Like I said, these motherfucking people, they crossed the line when they started getting nosing into stuff that you know what I mean, that involves a third party that we don't talk about, that my mom doesn't mention, okay, i.e. her sister, and spans years and years and years and years prior to you becoming a part of my mom's life, and consequently mine 5 measly months ago. So they fucking crossed the line, and I cannot deal with my sick mother referring to these motherfucking assholes as friends. I can't deal with it. That's all. Can't deal with it. Okay? Because I see it so clearly. It's just like not wanting my mom to put her hand on a hot stove or something. I see what you know, what that will lead to. You have to play nice with them. That doesn't mean you have to trust them you know, trust them as with a 10-foot, you know, whatever the saying is. You don't trust them. You don't share your personal fucking plans with them or your finances or anything. But did I yell at her over that when I hear her on the phone just gabbing away about, you know? No. When I yell is when I reach my breaking point. And I gave you an example. And I had it put into play. So I intentionally, to cover my ass, had her, it was over the weekend, this was when she had the gallbladder, I had her DMH worker on the other line, voicemail. You can leave like a 5-minute voicemail. I've left plenty of them. Okay? Don't care. And I'm trying to stop her from going out in the snowstorm. Well, in the end, what do you think happened? I'm standing here on the phone with him, leaving a message, and then I see, you know, she went out, she had a coat and hat on, but she was wearing those things you've seen me in, those pink kind of things, and they're not any worse than jeans, you know what I mean? They're fine. She was fine, but people around here will like that, and they instantly called the cops. And they said she's out inappropriately dressed walking around in the snow. But she had a coat and hat, and I can't pay attention to every little thing when I'm begging her, don't leave. Okay? It's abusing her if I try to pull her in. I can't physically stop her. But in ignorant people's minds, if I yell, that's abusing her. And that's what I can't take, okay? I only yell when I reach my breaking point. You don't just yell for no goddamn reason at all when you cannot reason with her, alright? And like I said, when she's not like that, when she's reasonable, we get along great. We got along fine, great, whatever. We had no problems in the hotel for those nearly 3 weeks. We weren't having any problems when she comes to visit on the weekends. It's only when her mind starts slipping, but you never know when that will happen, and then she can snap out of it, okay? I can guarantee you right now, apparently Selena just talked to her, but of course you're never going to get a straight answer from my mom. We are not going to know what happened. Even before, to her, I'm not doing anything wrong, and the police just show up, okay? I was told she was trying to get a job somewhere, and that's going to You know, who knows what she did? She's not going to admit it. She might not even, you know. But I can guarantee you, my mom right now, if I went to visit her in the regular hospital, where she still is, well, they're looking for a place, nut house to send her to. It's not going to help because it never does. She's much better than she was when she was crowded by police and not knowing what's happening and all this crap, okay? I can guarantee you she is. And Churchwoman was right. She was with her all day Sunday. And my mom even came home Sunday with a Valentine's gift for me, and you know, and we hadn't been getting along, and we made up, but again, we hadn't been getting, she's not reasonable. And I give you a perfect example. It happened. Gallbladder surgery. You are not better just because you're feeling slightly better. Just like when someone has a cold and they're feeling slightly better and then they decide to go do whatever and the cold hasn't gone away. It was 5 days in. She's stir crazy. She doesn't want to be here. She gets it in her brain that she has the right to leave and I can't stop her. But I was put in the position of power over her when I allowed her to come and stay with me instead of going to the fucking nursing home for rehab. And it would have been fine if she was reasonable. But instead, we had police here, and then when a nurse came that we hadn't met before, you know, every time it's a different person, and then to check on her, and oh, and then I think in between, she wasn't sleeping right, and we had, gotten her approved to get Ativan or something or other. And then that nurse was like, she was suspicious of me, or she's like, there wasn't Ativan on this original list. I'm like, oh my God, you know, it's like, or something. Or I don't know, it's something that she's like, I'm like, fuck you, thinking to myself. But anyway, she called Elder Services because my mom sits there and blabs about how the police were here the day before, and this person doesn't know shit about shit, and just, they pick up the phone, call Elder Services, and I had to beg and plead. Thankfully, it was a guy, and I just was sweet and nice, and I'm like, you know, look, she's been through hell with she spent a month in this regular hospital after being sent to a mental hospital and had a seizure, and then she was home here with me, recuperating instead of going home after being gone, you know, and then she has to have that gallbladder thing. She's been through hell. Give her a chance. She hasn't seen her psychiatrist in forever. She hasn't been home to her apartment. And he's like, oh, I'll have to talk to my supervisor. And in the end, he said, it's okay, but we don't want her going home this weekend by herself. You go with her. And then I had to sneak around and talk behind her back to the landlord and say, can you tell her you just can't come and get her? He didn't want to lie to her because he had arranged to come and get her. She was just defying me at every turn, and I see the bigger picture. So you say you shouldn't yell, but if you can't reason with somebody, you have to yell, okay? To try, you know, what am I supposed to do? She wouldn't see reason. I'm going home, that's it. I've already arranged it. And in the end, I got him to give me permission as an emergency to have Omar there that weekend, and it was a horrible weekend. She was horrible. I thought when she got involved with these people and a new psychiatrist and all that, she would land in the mental hospital, but thankfully it didn't happen, and she snapped out of it. Okay? Lately she has been off and on and snapping out of it and not landing in the mental hospital, but she can't go places alone. She has to accept her limitations. She can't go places alone. And Churchwoman was like, I'm like, if we get out of this, we need to sit her down. She can't go places alone. She nearly landed in the hospital in the Patriots Parade. It's a sad limitation to accept, but you have to accept it. Okay? It's not like I don't go places with you, Mom. I'm in contracting hell. I'm in clean the house hell. You know, I'm trying. I have missing things that need to be mailed out. I had them and then they're gone and they needed to be mailed out because remember the insurance company will cover that one of those plumbing bills because the first time he wasn't able to do anything, but he was here and, you know, we don't have to pay both bills. And it's still $100 in my mom's pocket, you know, but I misplaced shit. I can't find my calendar. You know I like to write on my calendar every day what happened, or I forget. I like to keep track of my life. I told you I've been doing that for as long as Kavanaugh has. Just about. Not quite, because I think I'm a little younger than him, right? And I started a little later. He started in high school and I started in college, but I've been doing it. I have calendars this stacked this high. I can go back and I can see what I did on any given day, just like he said he could. And I did the same thing, where sometimes you'd write what you were going to do, and sometimes, mostly I did it as a diary, and I'd write after the fact. And of course, my older calendars have when I was picking up strangers and going to bars and getting drunk and all that, you know that, so. Anyway, the contracting thing, she was here, the plumber was here. It's probably as Joe suspected, you know. He's not licensed, he's, you know, he was nice enough. So here we go. Water's, according to him, water's coming out the top like that because something to do with different places have different water. It's just an excuse, different water things, and it didn't do it before, it didn't do it for all these years, it didn't do it anywhere else I lived, but I think it could have been something in major that he did wrong inside, but the solution is we're just going to put a little knob at the top, and that's an extra step that my mom and I, but I'm not staying here anyway, so it doesn't matter. My mom was never supposed to move back in here. She didn't want to, you know, but whatever. They had to run off and go to Lowe's and get stuff. And they're not going to investigate. I was told you'd have to open up the thing to check the diverter valve. They're saying that's down. It's bullshit. It's all bullshit. So the solution is it just shuts off at the top. But even that's not easy to do. You have to. It's a little, you know, and it's an extra step, and you have to remember to do it every time. But we'll get used to it. That's the best they could do. According to him, that's how this, you know, that's how it has to be. Well, why wasn't it like that before? Well, we changed the pipes all right. Yeah, there we go. So that was the solution. And she's like, we really usually don't do something like that. It's usually high-end houses or whatever. We're going to go and buy a thing that and do that. The tub was adjusted, so now it's holding water. The sink was adjusted, so hopefully it won't leak. It was a very minor leak, so you have to pay attention if it's happening, you know. And he didn't open up anything. They did the solution to the water coming out like that. He said, that's just how it is. But for you, well, she says, we'll buy one of those little black knobs that adjusts the water at, you know, shut it off at the top, which you have to remember to do off and on. It's a nice little feature. It's cool. And she put the other shower head in. It is a little bit lower, but not much. I can't remember how my old one was. I don't have any pictures. She doesn't have any pictures. Maybe that's how it was. That's how they are. You can make them down lower, but the old one probably was the same where it's up like that. She said it's the pipe, it's that same pipe where my old one was, so I didn't know that. So that they didn't move that around. It's the same thing, so. My old one probably was like that. And it can get droplets on the back wall. It does. At least this one's, the original one I liked better anyway. I liked it better. And it is at least a little bit lower. But I try to look pictures online, and you can see people have shower heads up high. This has to be up high because it has to be in the wall. It can't be in the regular panel, the shower panel, the fiberglass, acrylic, whatever it is. You know. And then my closet doors, she said we can't get runners for this type of home, you know, mobile home, and then she's like, well, maybe I can order them. Whatever she brought, she didn't think that was going to work any better than those contraption things. So, bottom line, she has to come back again. And the shower doors pissed me off the worst. I'm so fucking frustrated. She doesn't understand, but neither do I, about the people saying they're on backwards or whatnot. Because we already know how they are now is wrong, because the overlap, water can go straight through, and that's not how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to have it bouncing off, and so there's a little bit of a diversion for the water, okay? But how the doors are now, they fit snug. They fit perfect on both ends perfectly. She said all she's going to do is just make the other door, the opposite doors, fit perfectly. The ones that have the big gaps. And I said, how are you going to do that? You're going to finagle it. She said, I'm not going to finagle it. But then what does she proceed to do? Finagle it. She calls me in. She's like, this is the best. She's trying to blame the wall, too. Now, that ain't flying. You can't blame the wall. You can blame it for that ridge, the gaps inside the shower. I'll give you that, and my plumber will give you that. But if these doors right now are fitting perfectly on both ends, something went wrong somewhere. And I said to her, as far as I'm concerned, you should reinstall the whole thing. Because these are fitting perfectly this way, yet they're not perfect in that gap is supposed to be opposite. Yet if you try to fit them the other way, this huge gap, and it's a significant gap, and it's not supposed to be any gap. So what does she do? She finagled it. She calls me in. She's like, I think you'll be happy with that. I said, no, I'm not happy with that. These shower doors suck in and of themselves anyway. All these sliding glass shower doors suck, especially when you buy them at Lowe's or Home Depot, versus when my mom and my mom paid $800 just a few years ago when the old ones fell apart and installed brand new custom-made ones, okay? So we don't have to have those. You're at least going to have these start off perfect. I'm making her work. I'm making her work intentionally. I'm sure she's thinking to herself, what a pain in the ass Laura is. I'm thinking the same thing. What a pain in the ass this is. She thought I'd be happy with that. She said, oh, I thought you'd be satisfied with that. I was like, I'm not. I'm not going to be satisfied unless you make these doors fit exactly how the doors are currently fitting, but the gap is in the wrong. You know, I don't know what you guys did wrong, but I know if it's perfect now, except for that middle part, but the doors on both ends fit nice and tight. That's how it's supposed to be. It's how it was with my other shower doors, and it was the same with the ones that have been there for years. Because she tried to blame the wall again. That's how your wall is. It's the best I can do. Fine. I'm making you work. You just don't know it. You say, oh, you think of me as a friend. I'm making you work. I could have taken the easy way out that the church woman was suggesting, and so was Kurt. Just say, forget it, and hire somebody and be on your merry way, and let them be on their merry way. I'm not doing that. I'm making her work. I'm making her work. I'm not going to let her off the hook. She's like, oh, I thought that would be. I thought that's the best I can do. I thought you'd be happy with that. No, I'm not happy with that. If these doors currently are fitting nice and tight and snug like they're supposed to, I'm not going to be happy with any gap. Because over time, it'll get worse. You know, if the door's not closing tightly now, think about a few months in. At least these are shitty friggin' sliding glass doors anyway. There's some reason that happened. Why? Because she's trying to say, oh, well, you know, you always have to do adjustments or whatever, but she didn't install it. She wasn't here. She's trying to finagle this when she doesn't really know what her guys did wrong in the beginning, you know? And she says, oh, well, they had to adjust it to make those fit snug, or they just automatically fit snug, but they're not on, it's not supposed to be. But I don't understand, and neither does she, the theory of them being on backwards. Because then she's saying she talked to the Lowe's guy, and that towel rack is supposed to be on the outside. And I said, well, my old one had one, but they had it on the inside and the outside. So I said, well, did that towel rack come with the door? Maybe they had to put it on, and they put it on the wrong door. I don't know. You see, she's like, I don't know either. So she's basically trying to finagle it. So, oh, I knew it should have been in the beginning. That inner door closes in that direction. But it's not right that the outside, the way it is now, yet it's not supposed to be that way. They fit nice and tight, whereas if you do it the other way, they don't, and she's just saying, oh, that's the best I can do. I'm making her work. She's ordering something to hopefully make them work. She knows that we're at a standstill. You know, she knows that I'm not backing down, and that, you know, and she knows that she stands by her. I'm not going to leave until you're satisfied. I know what I have to do. And as for the runners, she didn't bring what's right, and she's going to try to order specific runners. I even showed her my mom's bedroom runners, but those are, my mom at one point put brand new sliding glass doors in, and I don't know if that, I didn't know if she added mirrors to the doors that were there, or it was new doors and new runners, so it doesn't matter. You get it? I'm making her work. This is punishment for, but I didn't ask up front. I didn't say, when she said I have my own plumber electrician, did I say, are they licensed? No, I don't think of doing that. I just liked her. And I'm talking to Joe, and Joe says, yeah, Joe thinks female contractors are the worst. He said there's one where he lives, and they have huge problems with her. Bottom line is, it's not over with. I haven't heard a peep from my mom. I don't, you know, I don't know if she wants to talk to me. I don't know if she's blaming me. You know, she always blames me. Jojona's like, how could she blame you? She's the one that went to the mall by herself. She shouldn't have done it. Because I'm blamed for everything in this life, that's why. I sarcastically say. So now what? It's going to be a couple of weeks. She's ordering stuff. She's at least standing by her guarantee that I'm not happy until the customer's happy. She's like, oh, I thought you'd be happy with that. I'm not happy with that. It tells me from the beginning what I said. You're just going to finagle it. I'm not going to be happy unless these doors on both ends fit the way they're currently fitting. The other doors are fitting. I mean, I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what you guys did wrong. I see why she doesn't understand the backwards door theory, and I don't either, because if you put the other doors the other way, they're still probably not going to fit tight, and you'd have to, you know. So it could just be that. And she's like, I don't know, that door doesn't fit as good. But it's significant. Alright? It's a significant thing. These fit perfectly, and these don't fit tight at all. And she's like, well, water's not going to get out there. I don't care if it is or isn't. That's not the point. If these are fitting tight, I want the other ones to fit tight, period. As far as I'm concerned, you should reinstall the whole thing. She said to me, she thought that you'd be happy with this. No, I'm not happy. I'm not going to be happy. Because that's finagling it, as I said up front. What are you going to do, finagle it? If you're going to try to make those doors fit when I already know they don't. Because I learned that the hard way. I told you, I'm so used to closing that inner door that I one time forgot I was in a bad mood. I was whatever, and I closed the inner door, and the gap made water go on the floor. This big, that gap. I showed it to you. And sure, she finagled it and made it a little bit better, but it's not how it's supposed to be. I'm doing it on purpose. As far as I'm concerned, I didn't deserve all this shit to happen, all this careless shit and whatever, and you know. And I think Joe, and I think that you're probably right. She's probably using illegals, and that's why she doesn't want to give me the plumber's name. I never met the electrician, and there you have it. But I didn't ask up front. I'm sure had I asked up front, is your plumber licensed? And then I would have never hired her in the first place. Okay, so that's my bad, but in my defense, how the fuck could I know to ask something like that, you know? I was being pressured by my mom's damn insurance company. So I pasted on a happy face, of course. So she doesn't know anything going on with my mom, of course. I still haven't heard a peep from my mother. Like I said, I didn't buy her time. I would never, if I liked the 2 hospitals that I can't stand, I certainly wouldn't ever say, you know, don't send her to those. I would want them to be an option, see? So no one could accuse me of, oh, you just don't want, you're just trying to postpone your mom going to the mental hospital. No. I'm trying to do everything in my power to avoid her being sent back to either of those hellholes. The one is awful, 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 but the other one is the one that knows I can't stand them. And my mom, being her age, winds up the same, like I said, twice in a row, same caseworker, same doctor, even though I specifically said, can I have different ones? I don't like the ones from before, and they discharged her too soon, and now she's back here, you know. And then I have to get, your mom has to request it. Yeah, I know. People go into your mental hospital thinking they're talking to aliens, not my mom, but talking to aliens or whatever, and they're going to have the wherewithal to request a different doctor and social worker as the family member dealing with. You know, I have no rights. Even crisis thought that, oh, of course you're the family. Of course you can request different ones. Come to find out I couldn't. Your mom has to do it. It's the same fucking shit as I'm dealing with these people. My mom is perfectly sane so long as it's convenient for you, but otherwise, if she's, you know, if she's saying anything against me, I'm sorry, if she's perfectly sane if she's saying anything against me, otherwise she's out of her mind. In that instance, she's out of her mind and is sectioned against her will, but she's the one who has to have the wherewithal to request a different doctor and social worker. You get where I'm coming from here, how broken this fucking system is? Sick. I was justified in requesting a different social worker and doctor. Because A, they discharged her too soon. B, every time I tried to reach that little social worker, she never returned my call. She never got back to me. And then you know the rest. My aunt, who I have in text, you're the daughter, you should be the healthcare proxy, I don't want to deal with this anymore, blah, 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 I'm out of it, I'm just a sit, blah, 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 whatever. I'm not going to be involved ever again, and et cetera. The minute my mom turned on me, that was it. My aunt's right there, and it's like she never said anything about stepping away and being out of it. It was all bullshit. She's never out of the picture. Trust me on that one. She never is. That's why I said, fuck you if you're watching this cunt, you know? My friends know the truth. I do the very best I can dealing with my mom. And my God, when we had police bringing her home and elder services, I had to sweet talk the guy. Thankfully, it was a guy saying she's going to be set up with these. She has to give her some, cut her some slack. Please, please. All right, it's fine, but go with her. We don't think she should be alone this weekend. Well, neither do I, but I can't stop her. And your landlord won't allow the dog, but I got an emergency thing, and Omar was allowed to be there. And it was absolute hell that weekend. Hell for a number of reasons. I got locked in the place because the doorknob was sold, and I closed the door. And probably the person that lived there before, who was an old lady, and she never closed that door probably. And then me and Omar locked in there, and he's trying to blame me. Like, so we had to call him and have him come over early in the morning. You know how that whole goes. It happened here before. If a doorknob falls off on both ends, you're trapped in there. No, you can't get out. The door is totally jammed and you can't get out. He wanted to break in the door. He was like, we'll have no door. Fuck you. In the end, he put on another door, though. He did whatever. He was just being, I'm not even have a door here. He's pissed to being woken up around 6 o'clock in the morning. What do you want? I could have been, this has been me and Omar trapped in here, and he has to go to the bathroom, you know, since 3. I close doors anywhere I am. I like the door closed. It was a bad, bad weekend. But again, I thought my mom, as soon as she saw any psychiatrist, brand new, old one, whatever, she would be hospitalized, and it didn't happen, and I was thankful, and then she snapped out of it. There's no saying. Like Joe says, you have to treat her like she's drunk all the time. She's on powerful, powerful fucking psych meds. I know having the police get you at the mall and you don't understand why it's happening. You're under duress. She has not been acting, not as, you know, not any worse than the other times when she didn't wind up in the hospital. Let's put it that way. And even churchwomen saw it. That's why we didn't think anything was going to come of this. And instead, she's headed off to a mental hospital, and they never help her. They never help her. They keep her for 3 weeks and discharge her in worse or the same condition. They don't help her. It's just a, you know, they don't. It was really, really bad before we went to the hotel. I don't know how she snapped out of it. It's why I do sometimes, Joe brought it up with me first, it feels like she is demon-possessed, and a demon is just trying to, you know, drive me insane, because she can be perfectly well, and then it's like that, and then it can change. And it's almost like, just, let's fuck with Laura. Let's see how far we can push Laura before Laura winds up in the mental hospital, you know? Do I think that's really happening? No. But it makes you think it's happening, the way she behaves, because you cannot reason with her, even when you're trying to protect her. Or, you know, all she does is yell at me all the time. Mom, leave Omar in the cage where he's safe. No, I'm going to do what I want, Mom. Do not touch that cage. Omar needs to be in the cage where he's safe. You can't tell me what to, you know, what would you do? Use that as any example. She's going to do what she wants like a little kid. You parents yell at your little kids if they're, you know what I mean? But when she goes and tells people she yells, it's not true. It is not true, okay? And like I said, she never cleans up her messes. I never say anything about that. I clean up after her all the time. I cook for her. I do everything. But if you are going to defy me and do things you're not supposed to do, like if Omar's in the cage and I say don't touch him, yeah, I'm going to yell, because reasoning with you doesn't work, okay? I don't start off yelling. Reasoning with her doesn't work. And I'm about to just lose my mind. It's jeopardizing my health, you know? And I can't comprehend why she's doing it. But when their little solution is just give her more meds, it makes me sick. Like I said, if she wasn't so engrossed on every fucking plane of existence, every part of her existence in these government fucks, you know, and if I had any kind of, then I could save her. I damn well could try. But everyone in her life is of the mentality of that they bow down to the psychiatric and the psych meds and all that. There's nothing that I can do. It's like Joe said years ago, your mom's on a hamster wheel, a big farmer, and she's going to be that way until she dies. But these motherfuckers know they can say whatever they want. We already learned that. They accuse me of doing things I haven't done. They say shit to my mom, like, we don't see, you know, why does Laura have to be involved in your meds at all when we're handling them? Or we think you should have stayed in that apartment and not moved back in with your daughter, you know? Or any number of things. Meanwhile, they know how many times it's been touch and go with my mom, even when she was living in her own fucking place, okay? It's just convenient to blame me or to say it's because she's living with me or whatnot. But then when she gets horrified when I say that I'm going to be leaving. But I want it to be a secret. I don't want you blabbing it to everybody, you know, who doesn't need to know. And these people I hate, justifiably, who I liked and trusted, okay, until they crossed the line, and we all know who the motherfucking catalyst of crossing the line was. That fucking bitch who thinks she has a right to go off. You were in that bathroom for 20 minutes. We were waiting for you. Like I'm her fucking kid in public in the middle of the dentist's office, and then runs back and tells her people, oh, that I upset my mom and I was, you know, screaming at my mom, which I wasn't. But you know she could say anything. I can't, you know, if she later said you were screaming at your mom and I'd turn around and say, no, I wasn't, and she backed down, well, you were berating her. I was frustrated. I was scared for her. I told her to put that, I wanted you guys to help or you to look or whatever, that bed frame. I didn't know what to do about it. You're in her life. I think, you know, I'm a goddamn fool. And I was upset that she'd forgotten the note because I was trying to figure this out so she wouldn't get hurt, and, you know. But to the bitch who can't stand me, who puts me down for everything, it's like, you know, you're the daughter, we're not the family, well, you need to handle it. I know on the one end you're so far up her ass that I don't know where you end and she begins, or she ends and you begin, but on the other hand, I'm condemned for asking just your help on a human level with her, because I can't win. Just like her going out, just like, oh, have you know, the bitch who was here, have a good time tonight, Samantha. And yet, if something happened to my mom, I'd probably be blamed, see? You're not going to try to talk her out of anything like that. You're just good, oh, have a good time, and it's okay if you went into the Boss Patriots Parade, whatever. But if the shit hits the fan, I'm blamed. Can't live like that. Can't live like this. Can't. I can't live not knowing whenever that, you know, 2 nights in a row, the bitch I can't stand, the catalyst to elder services being at my mom's apartment, and we didn't know what was going to happen with that. That they don't go away. That lawyer we saw years ago said they don't go away, but I don't know. We didn't know what was happening behind the scenes. We don't know, because no one would tell my mom anything. To them, they had nothing to do with it, but we know they did. It's not 2 days after, you know, or a few days after I write angry letters in my mom's defense and my defense, and you have no right to be butting in and drilling my mom, giving your position, that, about things that happened long years and years before you were ever a part of our lives. And elder services, I instructed my mom that she doesn't have to answer any questions that she doesn't want to answer that make her feel uncomfortable, blah, 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 whatever. They didn't like that, and don't tell me it wasn't them that called elder services. My mom's too much of a coincidence.